Well, hello, my friends. What, this? Oh, it's nothing personal. I'm just, I don't want to get myself sick. Wait, it's racist? Hold on, hold on. How's everybody doing today? I guess I shouldn't waste this because I might need it, right? I talked about that the other day, the old coronavirus, and that's not what this video is about, by the way. This is my weekly, let's just say, this is my weekly YouTube video, and I'm going to explain exactly where I'm coming from here, why I have always done daily videos and why I'm changing this format, and I'm just going to be real with you for a little bit, which I always am anyway, so what's the difference, right? Um, you know, I've been doing a lot of thinking lately. I've been going through a lot of shit in my own head, ups and downs and back and forth. Generally consider myself pretty lucky and pretty positive, but I don't recall if I uploaded. I made a video about this the other day. I don't even think I've uploaded it yet. It was actually an audio recording, but explaining how I came across a channel which I've been watching for a long time called Counter Arguments, and how he made a video where he had said he was going to quit doing YouTube for a while. And it was funny because it was just at the time when I was thinking about the same thing. And I want to explain where I'm coming from and why I think I'm going to hang it up YouTube for a little bit. First off, I'd like to say thank you to all of my subscribers, people who have commented, my Patreon supporters. I mean, it's been an amazing 10 years. I started in August of 2010. Didn't really start uploading regular content for about a year, but I stuck with it and have uploaded at least 4,000 videos and almost daily content. And so, to answer the question of why I'm going to kind of reformat this and stop uploading regularly, um, it's a very time consuming thing. Of course, that's one aspect of it, but really sitting down in front of the camera like I do isn't that big of a deal, of course. I mean, I sit here for maybe, even though my videos are long, 15-20 minutes, I'm not editing and cutting out parts for that 15-20 minutes. You know me, I've always been kind of a raw from the heart dude. And that's been, hopefully, I thought over the years that would be my, I guess, selling point. When you're always selling yourself. You're putting out a video saying, why the hell should people listen to my bullshit? And I would ask myself that. Why am I even doing this? And when I started out, I would literally, I'd sit on the couch and just kick back and take bong hits. And then, of course, YouTube changed their standards. They started censoring and deleting certain videos. And I stuck with it through all the years. I had several videos explaining different kratom details and information about that and cannabis. I had to delete all of those because I was afraid I was going to get more copyright strikes. And I did have my channel deleted, I believe, twice. One time for about 2 months, it was just totally gone, and then it popped up one day. YouTube finally answered my beg and plea, I guess, because I had filed an appeal through the site. But there's nothing you can do if you're cut off, so you feel like you can only talk about certain subjects. And when I find myself censored, it just makes it harder to want to keep making videos on YouTube. So, before I forget this part, what I'm planning to do is this. I'm going to make a video each week, and I'm going to make podcasts, maybe one a week, that's, about whatever's on my mind, various subjects on the podcast. But for the video, I'm going to research and do it about one particular subject. Sometimes I'll select that from my patron suggestions, which is going to be for a totally separate thing. I'm also going to keep it simple, because I feel like I'll be able to focus more that way. I'm going to do bi-monthly drawings, giveaways to my patrons on Patreon, and give away a variety of different. I've got this kratom jewelry that I wanted to give to people, but I want it to go to people that would appreciate it. But I was thinking about making these little gift packages of art and some other stuff that I've done, and kind of give it away to my people. And that's not as a way to say, oh, to get more patrons, but really as a thank you. Because that's my next point, is that I've learned a lot on YouTube over these years. I don't consider it wasted time, all the videos I've made. In fact, I consider it a class. I consider it education because I've learned so much from you guys. I've learned so much from people. I'm just trying to, I guess, balance the effort and the return on the effort. And in the past, when I said that, I felt like, well, that's selfish. People have said, well, even when I've suggested that I'm going to put my videos on or certain videos on Patreon, I've always got somebody who's like, oh, you can't put your information behind a paywall. And, that's not cool. Information should be free, which I have always said I agree with. But at the same time, I'm looking at the fact that I might have made 25 cents per video I've made over the years. And I think, well, I could be doing something else more productive with my time. So instead of begging more for donations, I'm just going to start focusing more on one thing at a time, because my method for YouTube obviously didn't work. I've learned a lot of people don't really care about just, even if you're presenting, information, if you're not doing it with flashy graphics or, background music and really editing, it's kind of hard to, it's not that the people don't like it, it's that YouTube doesn't suggest things. But on top of that, if your video doesn't use AdSense or garner ad revenue from it, YouTube will generally just, sideline it. So I've noticed a difference, over the years. I mean, I figured my channel would have grown more by now, but I'm sure that it's not exactly a desirable channel. YouTube's gotten a lot bigger and there's a lot more channels on here, so point being, I'm going to focus more on some more dedicated projects. I'd rather work hard on something, and that's kind of hard for me because I've had a hard time knowing my goals and my destination. I don't really know what I want to fucking do. I've always had this thing where I'm like, and I've never wanted to be a YouTuber. That's never been my dream. So many people are like, oh, I want to start a YouTube channel, man. How do I make a successful YouTube channel? I've got emails from people who want to do that, or want to start a Kratom business because I'm a Kratom vendor too. And I'll tell them both the same things. Well, either, oh, I'm getting actually, burned out on YouTube and being, it's harder than it seems to get up there, but it's also, for me, it's not about views and it's not about subscribers. It's about connection. But at the same time, there's a part of me who says, what if I could make a career out of talking to people? And then I start thinking, well, that's kind of lazy, Talking on YouTube's not a job. Maybe I should think of something else. Well, maybe I'll be a counselor. Well, then I have to go through training and get a degree. And, I'm like, well, what could I really do to help people? And YouTube having, I think, 20,000 subscribers is pretty crazy, man. I mean, that's a lot of people. And I know out of those 20,000, because it's not a channel that built them quickly, it was over 10 years. So to be honest, maybe only, I think it's something like maybe 1% of my subscriber base actually watches my videos, because it may be like 200 or something, 300, depends on the video. But the comments I get are just golden, because I compare my comments to not other channels, but just where other comment sections I come across online. And I'm so grateful to have you all with fucking awesome, like, rational, thought out comments, which I read every single one, even if I can't respond to them all. And I feel like right now I'm on that verge of not being able to even respond to all of them and feeling like, oh, I can't, answer this one properly. And then I can't even answer my emails because I get so many different messages from people about this or that. And I'm like, I don't want them to think I don't care, because I do care. I don't know what to do, man. It's just, I'm at a crossroads in my life. So I think that if I ease back on YouTube, it'll definitely give me more time to think. And I won't have to feel pressured on camera. But at the same time, I can put together some audio recordings on my little recorder and put that together into a podcast format. And I think that might be more desirable at the same time. I could put it on whatever it might be, Spotify or, Apple, iTunes, whatever the best method of that is. I feel like a dinosaur sometimes. I'm only 44, but, it's like, I guess it's not just me, the tech and the tech industry, music and podcast sources are changing so fast. A company grows in a year and you're like, where do you put a podcast? And I want to share my information, and I'd also like to actually put it in a podcast format and charge for it, just like everybody else does. But for now, I've enjoyed giving away everything that I think about, even though it puts me kind of in an awkward position where I feel like I have to present a video every so often. It does feel like a pressure, and I have no idea why. And I've really questioned that. I'm like, why do I feel like I have to make a YouTube video? Is it for myself? And I've analyzed that angle. Like, is it just because I need the feedback and I need the praise or something? Well, no, that's not it, because sometimes I talk about a subject where I know I'm going to get hate on it. And like talking about Bernie Sanders. I made 3 videos, I realized, over like a week about Bernie Sanders, because in my mind, that's what I was thinking about at the moment. I'm not a huge political guy. I don't obsess over politics. I'm just like, oh, okay, my dude's doing all right. I want to talk about it. And I did. And of course, there's always going to be people who, dirty communists. And that's not just those videos. It's especially other ones I've commented on, about Bernie. And people get this idea that you're like all wrapped up in politics or something. It's not that way at all. And it's the same thing with all the subjects I talk about. I don't lose any sleep over any of these things. Believe me, I sleep well. And politics are just politics. In fact, sometimes I just think that the world falling apart is inevitable. I shouldn't say the world, but society, if you will. Which brings me to something I didn't want to forget. I had a dream last night. Strangest dream. I've been having apocalypse dreams for years, and lately I've been on my school bus, because if you don't know, I have a short bus, a 21-footer, and it's all remodeled into a livable quarters. So in my dreams, we're always in that, or in a small building with the bus nearby, and we're traveling somewhere. And last night, I was in this building, which was kind of like on a corner on a branching 2 streets, and on the horizon through this city, I could see this cloud coming. And we're talking a fucking monster cloud, dude. Like this huge black cloud. And it was rolling towards me. And I'm sure that in my mind I had it in my mind because my kid and I the other day had watched a dust storm or a sandstorm somewhere in the Middle East. It was a really big one. And we were watching it come into the city. And I was explaining to him, what they are. And and I say that only because a lot of the dreams, if you're honest with yourself and you don't try to make a metaphor for everything, you realize a lot of the dreams are about things that you've experienced the day before, or something you watched, or something in a movie. But anyhow, it was coming towards us, and this little kid comes up to me, maybe my son's age, and he said, "My glasses are broken, can you fix them?" And in the dream, it was like a regular screw, or maybe a Phillips head, but it was a big head screw, always awkward in dreams. And I think it was for the nose piece, who knows, but I was trying to screw it in by hand. I didn't have any tools. And I'm watching this cloud come in, and I'm sitting here screwing this thing in like, shit. And after a moment, I was just like, because he said, "I got to find my mom." And I was like, "Dude, just go find your mom," And I ran, and I jumped in the building, and then the storm hit, and I woke up. And it was so weird. Then I fell kind of back asleep. And then for just a second, then I woke up right after having this dream that, like, I was in this room, and the Simpsons came up through these holes in the ground in a building, but like they were like zombies coming up, rising through the floor, like in the intro. And I actually kind of forgot about that part till just now. So I just wanted to share that. It's one of my strange dreams. I've had dreams of tidal waves. I've had one of the sun going out. I've had more apocalypse dreams in the last few years than I could ever imagine having, even back in the day when I was obsessed with Nostradamus, prophecies, apocalypse, the New World Order, and reptilians, and UFOs, and Bigfoot, and, the Bilderberg, and all these different meetings, the Trilateral Commission, the Eye in the Pyramid, the Egyptian heritage, and the Freemasons, and the secret languages, and Hebrew, and the, Jewish Israel conspiracy connections, and the world domination. I could go on and on and on, but I've been through all this conspiracy shit, and I want to lay that right out, because there's an important part of that, and it's connection, community, and a lot of people find that through those types of belief systems. And for me, it's like I only say that because one of the things about YouTube, that I guess is one of the reasons why I'd rather just kind of, stop putting so much effort in. I don't want to compromise my integrity. That means I don't want to sell out to companies by using ads on my channel, and I also don't want to sell out by saying, "By the way, this video is brought to you by this and this and this." In fact, in the beginning of this, I was going to make a joke like, "This video is brought to you by Carpo brand something," and then say, what was it? Carpo's podcast voted best podcast in the world for 53 years running. That kind of stuff is funny to me because it's one of those kind of jokes of the modern day. You can basically say anything you want. People can dispute it, but nobody cares anymore because nobody gives a fucking shit about reality or facts. And I don't mean that offensively, because a lot of us obviously do. But I've had enough debates with people who really just, in the end, say facts don't matter, that it just kind of leads me to think maybe there's not a lot of hope for us. And these aren't just people in my own personal life. I'm talking about politicians, people who are in positions of power who know or are supposed to know that individuals are unique and each person has their own reality, and that we don't know what's best for everybody else, and that pretending that our little religion or our belief system is better for them is some kind of old, pathetic, outdated crap. No offense to religion, but a lot of folks I've met, I have more faith in religion. I should say I have more, I guess, more of a connection with people who have faith in and that are religious than I did in years past, because now that I've had a lot of discussions, I've met people who say, well, I'm religious, but I don't think that I should ever push my beliefs on others. I don't believe in forcing Bibles in schools or these, and then there's the other extreme, people who just want to dominate and say, this is a Christian nation, which is complete nonsense. I mean, we put it in the goddamn Constitution. I mean, it's separation of church and state is just a well-known, kind of clause of existence here in this country, but it doesn't mean that there's anything against religion. And that's the thing. When you start talking about anything, people get sensitive, people get triggered, they start getting angry about things. So talking about these subjects, even when I do talk about a controversial subject, I would say it's never a waste of time. It's always important. I feel like my voice is somewhat rational, as arrogant as that sounds, and I don't really care, because I found that that's the only way you can survive in this world, is by being a little bit, not arrogant, but having a little bit of faith in what you say, because none of us really know. I'm a philosopher, I'm a human being, I don't know all the details of life, I don't even know what I want, but I know certain things feel right, and I know from what I've learned, I can at least base my assumptions and try to outweigh some of the horrendous bullshit assumptions that I've heard out there in the world. So I've learned over the years that structure and routine are really important, and that's why I want to do kind of a weekly thing, because I think it's important that I'm able to put things together in a coherent way. So I want to do like a weekly kind of newscast, a weekly sharing of information, my own thoughts, plus what's going on in the world. I started off with the joke about the virus, because I made this video last week about the virus, and I think that I said, oh, there's 200 people, or 130 people had died, and now it's like, 500, as they say, 13,000 people infected, which is nothing. But it's huge in the picture of last time I mentioned it, and, I'm just being aware of all these things, but I don't want to be a fearmonger, and that's why I brought up conspiracies earlier. It sells really well, making up bullshit, talking about what's wrong with the world. That's always sold really well. And I don't know. Oh, well, this would be a perfect way to finish this video, because it's getting pretty long. This is my video. It's the Carpo book. It's from 2000. It says Y2K to question mark. And there's just this one little page in here that I wrote. And as you can see, well, not on the audio recording, but there's one page with a barn and a pen. And I wrote down this. I was thinking about how, You know, in the conspiracy world, a lot of folks call each other sheeple if they don't seem to know what they believe. Well, if the sheep are the sheeple, the ignorant population, then who is the wolf? The wolf that's hunting. It's the businesses. People would say, oh, it's the government. It's not the government. It's the business. The government is the hunter. The hunter has specific targets in mind. The hunter can take out both the business and the individual. But I would rather be a shepherd than a wolf. And I just wanted to point that out. For all the people out there who like to point fingers at each other and say, oh, this guy's ignorant. He doesn't know what's going on. And oh, man, you know, you're just a fool. You're just a sheeple. It's like, well, be a shepherd. Educate people if you want to. But don't be a complete asshole. And that goes for anybody who wants to share information, right? And I thought that the woods, according to the sheep, the woods are the world, right? The barn is the community, and the pen is society. And it's so funny because I've got this book just full of random thoughts and ideas, and that was something that just popped up while, you know, and I had a lot of things I wanted to talk about, but I'm running out of time because I know this video is over 20 minutes, and my camera decides to split videos up into 2 parts if it's too long, so I'll part ways. I'll let you all know what's going on. I'll post a video next Sunday. Thanks for coming to Carpo's Sunday School, and I'm out.